Vengeance signaling, the new evolution of virtue signaling. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and I and a few others, like Based Mama, have been noticing a somewhat new but certainly growing trend, which I decided to call vengeance signaling, as it is rather similar to virtue signaling, and it is now becoming commonly done by the same types of people that partook in social justice virtue signaling over the past 4 years or so. If you need a thorough definition of virtue signaling, you can watch my video, You Are Virtue Signaling, as it gets into it. Simply put, virtue signaling is a tribalistic mechanism that all people use at some point or another to signify to other members of the crowds that they run with that they have things that they view as positive traits in common. People virtue signal to display their positive qualities to other members of their cultural demographic, though obviously different cultural demographics value different things. Simple phrases like, stay woke from social justice type is an act of virtue signaling alone, and statements like get wrecked, when spelled R-E-K-T, is an act of virtue signaling from anti-social justice types, or anti-SJW types. Usually, virtue signaling is confined to mere words, like publicly checking one's privilege, or going on and on about how nothing has been handed to you in your life and how hard you've had to work. However, vengeance signaling is a more severe and generally no longer virtuous form of virtue signaling, as you can imagine from its phrasing. Vengeance signaling is basically what happens when somebody is upset about their cultural demographic not getting what they wanted, or maybe not getting what they think that they wanted, or possibly not getting what they wanted, and therefore they partake in acts of vengeance against individuals or groups that they blame for this outcome. Therefore, considering Donald Trump actually won the presidential election, it is generally members of the left, in particular members of the regressive left, who are enacting instances of vengeance signaling. But it should be of note that if Hillary Clinton won, we would undoubtedly be seeing acts of vengeance signaling from Trump supporters and others who opposed Clinton, as they would be in the position to be seeking vengeance and putting it on display for others to see. Vengeance signaling is performative vengeance. It is not merely just beating up an old man because people suspected he voted for Trump, but also taking video of it and uploading it onto social media. Vengeance signaling is terrifying your 9-year-old child and his siblings by packing a bag for him because he voted for Trump in a mock election and putting him on the street with a sign as if you are actually kicking him out of the house, leading him to seriously believe that and scream and cry, and then uploading video footage of that onto the internet? Who does this? Vengeance signaling is telling a reporter that you would advocate for Trump's assassination before he has even taken office. Vengeance signaling is different than virtue signaling because it is likely not done with the genuine belief within the person enacting these vengeful actions that they are being an entirely good person. In most instances, the person who is vengeance signaling is fully aware that they are doing something wrong, but they just don't care anymore. They are figuring that in order to make an omelet, they need to crack some eggs or whatever, that somehow the world will be a better place once they do these bad things. It is of my opinion that vengeance signaling is almost always an inherently destructive and self-defeating act, unless somebody is standing up to a legitimate bully that will continue to do specific harm unless stopped. It is generally a fruitless endeavor. Attempting to stand up to Donald Trump's supposed bullying behavior by attacking his supporters or just rioting in general will not get these people anywhere. It is immature in character to do this and will do nothing but continue to convince your cultural and philosophical opponents into staying oppositional to your viewpoint if you are so silly as to partake in the practice of vengeance signaling. You absolutely cannot scare people into giving up newly acquired power. If you lose an election, you can't kick, scream, assault people, and expect a new outcome. Rather, you are showing people exactly why you should not be trusted making political decisions because you are an irrational person. People will not want to be on your side, and they will advocate for law enforcement to punish you and not feel guilty about it if you go to prison. The woman who put her son on the street with a sign and recorded his screaming on video is now receiving major internet backlash from concerned parents and citizens who think her children should be taken away from her. And there is no stopping that backlash because it was a genuinely awful thing to do, and you cannot stop people from saying such things online. The only thing you can stop is your own vengeance signaling. Please don't do it. It isn't worth it. You will only make your own life worse and the lives of everybody around you. Thank you for your time, and stay tuned.